I have worked with the government, in the government, and with government organizations for ages and ages and ages. I told you I worked as a diplomat and other posts as well. So this is why I asked for things in writing. You all know that I sent an email. Well, I actually first called the palace asking them if they could please make available the names of the doctors who delivered Archie and to confirm in writing whether or not which hospital the child was born. And they told me, this is the palace. You can't even email them. You have to call them, which I did. And they instructed me to write a Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, to the House of Commons, to Parliament, requesting that information since that had to do with the Succession Act to the throne. This is a law in the United Kingdom. So I called Parliament and they instructed me where to write, which I did. I got a response, an earlier response saying that because of the election, they had dissolved Parliament and then I had to wait. Usually it takes about 20 days for you to get that information or to get an answer, but because of the dissolution of Parliament, those times, that time frame, it was suspended, so it would take longer. Well, didn't take that long. And the answer I got is absolutely mind-blowing. Not what you expect from a government, from the House of Commons. So buckle up, beautiful people, because our worst fears have been confirmed.
Charles's office continued to undermine Diana's credibility.
We were being told that Charles and Diana were trying to get their life back together again. And this was after the Andrew Morton book had first revealed Diana's worries about Camilla, and before the actual breakup. So they were due to go on a royal tour of Korea. And we were asked to hold off any kind of criticism of Charles and Diana. Meanwhile, the spin doctors at the palace were saying that Charles was trying to help Diana through this very difficult period of time that she was having, and that all this fantasy that she was having about Camilla being Charles's mistress was the problem of her illness and her bulimia. So they were all bad-mouthing her like mad.
Before we get into this, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Yes, and if you can follow me on Facebook, that would be great. Yes, and don't forget to share, like, subscribe. It's all the good stuff for the channel. It really helps. I want to thank all of you who have come here and continue to come here and for always supporting me. And if you want to become a member, I don't know how much it costs, about $3. So you can join me in the private members only lives I do. But so many questions, so many unanswered questions, many theories about Archie's birth, that it's hard to fathom that in 2024 we're going through this. Now, I am going to show you there's a couple of requirements that are vital for a child to be included in the line of succession. So please read with me a little bit here. It's going to be a short paragraph. And I'm sorry, I'm just blown away. As you can see, I don't know how many of you know about this, but the Succession Act was amended in 2013. They changed from gender preference to primogeniture. Whoever comes first, regardless of the gender, is next in line to the throne, and also to allow Roman Catholics to be part of included in the line of succession instead of being excluded. For the royal marriages, the heirs of the body remained. A marriage is a royal marriage for the purposes of establishing the claim of any person to succeed to the crown as heir to the body, if that marriage is a marriage between a man and a woman. A person is disqualified from succeeding to the crown as an heir to the body of a royal marriage if they're not the offspring of both parties to that marriage. But most important part here is heir to the body, okay? Why does that matter? We have all, I'm not going to bore you with this because we have all seen that all royal births, I'm going to give a little bit of history lesson. I mean, it's going to be very short. Up until 1948, it was law. When I say it's law that the Home Secretary had to be present for every royal birth to certify that the child was heir to the body, which means that the woman, the royal lady, had delivered the baby. So he would sign and say, yes, I was a witness to the birth and the child is heir to the body. Okay, because why did this? Because there were many, many royal ladies or many royal families who could not conceive children and they would lie. They bring imposter children. So there's a reason why these laws arise to begin with, or they arose for, need creates laws. So that was needed because, imposters were being introduced to the line of succession. So they needed somebody. So they said, enough is enough. We're not going to have all that. So we're going to have somebody from the government who's independent, verifying that that lady gave birth to a child, a royal child. Okay. In 1948, before the then Princess Elizabeth gave birth to Prince Charles, to the now King Charles, that law was abolished. In exchange, they agreed that the document with the doctor's signatures were going stating that they witnessed the birth, the time, date, and place were going to be made public outside of Buckingham Palace with an easel and also through the Royal Gazette and everything. I have done countless videos about that. We have seen that Princess Catherine, every royal lady, the Queen, Princess Anne, I mean, everybody, they have posted the name of the doctors with their signature testifying that they were the attending doctors who delivered those children. This is to ensure that, the child is an heir to the body and it meets the legal requirements. Because a child, and what happens is when the child is born, all those documents, and I want you to listen to this part very carefully. The palace sends all those documents to the government, which are reviewed and verified before they include the child in the line of succession. This is why a lot of times you see, well, the child was born. Why wasn't he immediately submitted in the line of succession, right? Or included in the line of succession? Because the government has to review all the documents, verifying that its legitimacy, because including a child in the line of succession has constitutional ramifications. Currently, Archie is 6th in line to the throne. He is part of the first top 6 senior royals who are senior. It's the first top 6 people there. So I sent that information. I told you I sent that email. And they replied that because of the dissolution of Parliament, they weren't going to be able to answer until today. And I'm going to show you what. I don't know if I can show you because at the bottom it says that that it's confidential. So what I'll do is I'll read the email that they responded to me and what I responded to them, because I don't want to get in trouble. But I'm not the only one, because apparently a user, one of my subscribers, sent me a screenshot of the very same email she received, which is basically a copy of mine. But I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to read it out to you because I am in shock. Okay. FOI Commons F24-294 response. Dear Paula, me. Information request F24-294. Thank you for your request for information as copied below. You asked the House of Commons 2 questions regarding the birth of Prince Archie of Sussex, which we have sought to address below. Names of the doctors who delivered the child and name of the hospital where the child was born. This information is not held by the House of Commons. The primary role of the House of Commons is to make laws, not to deliver babies. We are not a part of the royal household and have no routine access to the information they hold. More information about the work we do can be found on our website. And they sent me the www.parliament.uk. We can only suggest that you send your request to the royal household directly, as they may have more information about the birth of the prince. However, please be aware that they're not classed as a public authority under the Freedom of Information Act 2000, and so are not obliged to respond to requests for any information they hold. You may, if dissatisfied with the handling of your request, complain to the House of Commons. Alternatively, if you are dissatisfied with the outcome of your request, you may ask the House of Commons to conduct an internal review of any decision regarding your request. Okay, and then they tell me the lady's name is Abigail Richmond, Information Rights Manager, House of Commons Information Compliance Center. Now, she's saying that because, listen to this very carefully, because the royal family, the monarchy, sits in a very weird place. The king is the head of state, so he is part of government because he rules government. He rules the country and the Commonwealth. So that statement in itself is not accurate, okay? Be aware that they're not classed as a public authority under the Freedom of Information Act of 2000, so they're not obligated to provide that information. Now, why? I'm going to tell you what I answered to them, and you're going to tell me what you think of that. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to tell you what I said to them. Hello, thanks for your response. I am fully aware you do not deliver babies since you're not a hospital. However, in order to include a child in the line of succession, which falls under the Succession Act 2013, a law passed by you, the UK government, certain information must be public to reassure us that the child meets all the legal requirements. I have contacted the palace and I was instructed to submit a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request, because I am inquiring about legal requirements regarding the Succession Act. As per the law, certain legal requirements must be met. One of them is that the information must be public. Another requirement is to verify via a document signed by the attending doctors testifying that they delivered the child and that she was born of the body. This is vital for a royal child to be included in the line of succession according to the Succession Act. Having established that that is a legal requirement, you must have that information in your files in order to include any royal child in the line of succession. I simply ask that you provide that information. As you know, including the name of a child in the line of succession has constitutional ramifications. This information must be accessible to the public as with previous royal births. Yet it is denied when it comes to Prince Archie. In both places, you, Parliament, and the royal household are simply playing with people's informations and requests. Could you then please confirm to me that the royal household has failed to provide those records and that the UK government included a royal child in the line of succession without verifying any documentation or information as required per the Succession Act 2013? Documentation required which proves that the child legitimately belongs there, that you have no proof of any kind in which to verify that the child was born of the body, that you are failing to enforce the requirements of the Succession Act. Until 1948, it was law that the Home Secretary must be present in all royal births to ensure that the child was born of the body and not an impostor. That law was removed, but it has been protocol to make those documents available to the public. Yet, in this case, you instruct me to contact the palace because you have no documents whatsoever regarding the legitimacy of his birth. You simply included a child who is sixth in line to the throne without verifying if he belongs in the line of succession. As I stated before, according to the Succession Act, a law which you passed and you have responsibility to ensure it goes through accordingly, the palace sends all documents to the government for review and verification. One of those documents is the document with the doctor's signature. I look forward to your answer confirming whether or not you have any documentation verifying the legitimacy of Archie in the line of succession. First of all, I'm shocked that this person was so bitchy because this person is a government employee. And if this is how she answers to the public, saying we're not a hospital, first of all, that's very unprofessional because she could have done without it. She could have simply said, this information is not held by the House of Commons. The primary role of the House of Commons is to make laws, not to deliver babies. She didn't have to include that line. And basically, as I said, it's incredible. What they're saying is that the House of Commons, that the UK government has absolutely zero documentation, zero, that the palace just simply included Archie because Meghan said that the baby was born without any verifying whatsoever if the child belongs in the line of succession, because the palace, who is crooked and fraudulent with all the things that are doing, failed to deliver the necessary documents that ensures the legitimacy of a child. When laws were there in place, because imposters have been introduced, there has been precedents that imposters have been included in the line of succession when children don't meet the legal requirements. This is like giving a passport. So I can go to any UK passport office and say, hey, give me a passport, and I don't have to present any documents. Least of all, when it comes to including a child in the line of succession. Keep in mind that if anything were to happen to Prince William, his wife, and his 3 children, next up to bat is Prince Harry with his children, which have not been verified as to the legitimacy of the inclusion of their names in the line of succession. So Parliament has just told me that they have no records at all. None. And yet Parliament, which is in charge of the line of succession, of passing bills to you know how everybody keeps saying, oh, the line of succession is Parliament? That is true. Because there's an act, there's a law. There are checks and balances that they have to be done. And you're telling me UK Parliament has answered me, and not only me, but other people, we have nothing to do with the Succession Act to verify its enforcement, to verify its validity. We have been swindled. The palace is a liar, and they're a bunch of fraudulent people. And I have requested, and I am going to follow this up, because I am going to elevate it to a higher thing, because this is not a satisfactory information saying that, oh, and by the way, because the palace, they're not a public authority, they don't have to disclose information. They have to, because they included a child in the line of succession. So that information must be made public, as it says in the law, that all documentation regarding the royal family, in regards, not like, for example, the medical records, what are they doing, but in regards to documents which verify the validity of the royal family, have to be made public.